Hi guys, Olive here. Here today to talk about some of my reading and my channel goals for 2024 and to discuss some changes that will be coming in the new year. With the turn of the year coming up here very soon, just like everybody else is right now, I'm thinking a lot about what I want to do and accomplish in 2024. And that of course includes things with my reading life and this channel. I have some very exciting things planned for next year, but then there are also some things that I anticipate will be changing, especially as the year goes on. Let's start by talking about my reading goals for 2024. And I honestly don't have many of them. I feel like I've spent my entire booktube career getting myself to this point where I'm really happy with the types of books I read. I'm really happy with my fiction to nonfiction ratio. I'm not exactly sure what that number stands at right now. I'll have to look at my stats after 2023 is officially done to see what that ratio is. But whatever it is, I really like it. I like reading mainly nonfiction, but with a healthy fiction presence in there as well. I'm generally really happy with the type of reading that I'm doing right now, so I don't feel the need to really change things or shake it up. I want to keep things as they are. When it comes to the quantity of books I want to read in 2024, I've tried to be flexible on that number because you just don't know what's going to happen in an upcoming year. You can aim to read all these books and then end up not having as much free time as you thought you were going to have. So I feel pretty confident that I can read at least 100 books next year. That's about what I'm doing right now. I feel like that's reasonable. Anything above that would be great. If I can't reach 100, then I'll just have to deal with that. It is going to be a goal of mine for 2024 to read through hopefully all of my unread advanced copies. And I'm mainly referring to the physical advanced copies that I have littered around my reading room right now because they're physical objects. They take up space here in my reading room that could be taken up by anything else, including new books. So those I want to try to read and clear out of here, but I would also really like to make a dent in my digital review copies as well. When I first started my booktube channel, I can confidently say that I had no idea how many books publishers are willing to throw at you if you talk about books online and you have an audience. And then on top of having this channel, I've also done freelance reviews for various publications. So publishers want to send me books for that as well, hoping that I'll review them. I am offered books nearly constantly. I'm sometimes sent them unsolicited. I had no idea a book was going to be arriving. It just shows up on my doorstep. And baby Olive, back in 2015 when I first started my channel, would have been thrilled to think about getting all these free books in the mail. But back then I definitely did not realize just how easy it is to get overwhelmed by all those books. When I start to feel overwhelmed by all the review copies, it starts stressing me out. And then I associate those review copies with stress, and therefore I avoid them because I don't want reading to be something that causes me stress. I want it to be something fun. But then I feel guilty because I'm avoiding those books because I am very grateful to have been sent them. I know what a privilege that is. Not everybody gets that privilege. So it just creates this really bad spiral for me. I've actually started accepting far fewer review copies this year because I can't make any promises about when or if I will review them, and then I feel bad about the stack I already have. I would like to finally get that monkey off of my back. I would like to read these books. I would like to stop feeling guilty about it. I would like to show them the love that I wanted to give them when I accepted them in the first place. So I'm going to read through the stack that I currently have while simultaneously being very judicious about accepting any new ones. I'm probably not going to be accepting many new review copies next year. I want to read through what I have and then never, hopefully, get myself in this hole again. I also in 2024 just want to read more of my own books, like primarily the fiction books. I would love to get to a point where the only fiction books I own are ones I have already read and would like to reread. Ideally, I would have 0 unread fiction books on my shelves. I've never really felt that way about a 0 TBR before. I made a whole video about how having a 0 TBR kind of makes me hivey, but I'm finding that I just don't reach for the fiction books I own. And in fact, I'm reaching for fiction in general less and less these days. Like I said before, my fiction to nonfiction ratio is heavily skewed in favor of nonfiction. So for me, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have a bunch of novels lying around. A couple of summers ago, I did whittle my fiction collection way down with the help of that Trash My TBR series I did. That helped so much. But now it is time to read what I kept during that series. So that is something I'm going to be working on through 2024. I actually originally had an idea that I would just start on the top shelf and work my way down. And that reminds me, does anybody else remember the Read Your Bookshelf-a-thon? They called it RibSat for short. It was such a big thing here on BookTube about 100 million years ago, but I've not heard anything about it for years. The whole concept was that you would start at one point on your bookshelf. You would read that book and then every book that followed that book until time ran out. So it was a timed event. I have not heard anything about it. Do they still do that? I don't think the hosts do it anymore, but I would love to do something like that in 2024. If those original hosts don't mind, if anybody else is interested in doing something like that, I would love to do it and then have anyone join me who wants to. Let me know if that's something you're interested in and maybe I can organize something. Something else I would really like to do in 2024 is reread some of my favorite books. It has been a long-term issue that I've had with myself that I just don't make enough time for rereads. Of course, I do famously every single June reread my favorite book, Rules of Civility by Amor Towles, but sometimes that's the only rereading I'll get done in the entire calendar year. And recently that has struck me as rather unkind to do to myself. Like, instead of treating myself with a reread of a book that I know I love, a book I know I will find comfort in, I am always so focused on reading the new books, getting them off my TBR, reading them so I can talk about them on this channel. There's so much to be gained from rereading books, and I know I would enjoy doing more of it. So next year, I'm going to select a handful of my favorite books that I've only ever read once, and I'm going to reread them. Let me know if you'd be interested in a standalone video about that. Like, maybe I could talk about whether or not those books remain my favorites after putting them to the reread test. But regardless of whether or not I make content about rereading favorites, it's definitely something I'm going to be doing next year. So those were my plans for my reading in 2024, but let's talk about what's to come on my channel next year, because there are some exciting things, but there are also some changes that I anticipate. But the first thing is something that I've been working toward for the past 4.5 or 5 years. Come early 2024, I will be done with my Wishbone series. In case you've never clicked on one of those What's the Story Wishbone videos here on my channel, in them I recap one episode of the 90s era PBS Kids TV show called Wishbone, which always aimed to make a classic work of literature more digestible for the kids at home. So I recap the episode and then I compare it to the work of literature that they adapted in that episode. I've always just very recently read that work of literature so that I can compare it to the episode. And then I talk generally about how effective I found the episode. I loved this show as a kid, but I thought it would be really valuable to go back through all these episodes as an adult, actually read the works of literature they were adapting to see how good of a job they did. I think I started going through those episodes here on my channel in the spring of 2019, I think it was. And now all of these years later, 40-something episodes of What's the Story Wishbone later, I will have gone through all of it. After I finish going through all those episodes, though, I do plan on making a wrap-up video to talk about the project as a whole and give my final thoughts. I might even do 2 videos. I haven't decided yet. But then I will be done. Until when and if they actually make that Wishbone movie they announced. I have my suspicions that it's caught up in production hell. But unless they come out with that movie here soon, I will be done talking about Wishbone. And it's very bittersweet because I'm ready for this project to be done. I've been working so hard on it for such a long time. Those videos are very challenging to edit. So I'm ready to be done. But I'm also not ready to be done because it holds such a special place in my heart. And this has been such a part of my BookTube world for such a long time. It's really hard to think about letting it go. When I first started thinking about how the Wishbone series was almost going to be over, I was definitely having some concerns that I wouldn't know what to do with myself once that project was over. So I started cooking up a new plan for a new project that I could take on. If you watch most of my videos, you've probably already heard me talk about what that's going to be, since I mentioned it a couple of times in different videos. But I plan on starting to go through all the works of Shakespeare. God only knows how long that's going to take me, but that's fine. I want to read and or watch performances of all the plays, but I would also very much like to read books that talk about people's experiences with Shakespeare. Like, I know Judi Dench has a newish book out about her experiences performing in Shakespeare's plays. If you know of any other books like that discuss people's relationship with the works of Shakespeare, please do let me know down in the comments. I would love some recommendations. Also, if you just have any guidance for me as I start this project, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm a complete neophyte here, and I don't yet know what I'm doing. I'm not 100% sure what those Shakespeare videos are going to look like. It's probably going to take a little time for me as I start the series to get my footing and really figure out what I want them to be. But what I imagine that they're probably going to be is a deep dive into each play, one play per video. And then in that video, I think I'll probably also discuss any adaptations or retellings. It's going to be fun. It's just going to be a lot of work. And that actually leads me into my next goal for 2024. I want to make more of those kinds of videos, the deep dive, research heavy types of videos, because I find those are the ones that I'm most proud of. So videos like my Helene Hanff author spotlights, my 3 takes on WeWork video. I talked about 2 different books and 1 documentary in that video. And then also the video I made for Nonfiction November last year, recommending a bunch of different books on movies and TV shows. Those types of videos take me a long time to prepare for and then to make, but I'm so proud of them when they go up. I work hard on all of my videos, so I really like my videos to have staying power. I like them to be evergreen. I like them to be equally worth watching now and 5 years from now. It's just that those types of videos take so much time and effort. So at some point in the year when I start making some of those types of videos, you will probably notice that I'm not going to be uploading quite as frequently because I want to spend time focusing on making those videos and not just running on the hamster wheel trying to get content up just for the sake of getting it up. I really want to put all my time and effort into those videos. So if you notice that I'm missing an upload on occasion, that's probably why. That being said, I am toying with the idea of making more of the shorts here on YouTube. I made a number of them during Nonfiction November, and they got a pretty good response. I know I need to invest in some equipment to increase the quality of those a little bit, but I was thinking maybe I could do little recommendations videos. I could make some mini reviews just in that really short form. Let me know what you think. I know in 2024, I will absolutely be making more of those 2 books on videos, which are basically book review videos, but in them I review 2 books on the same topic, and they're both normally nonfiction books. I have such a long list of ideas for that project, but I will happily entertain any requests. I will track down 2 nonfiction books about just about anything. So let me know if you have requests. I know I did get a request some time ago to give an update on my Reader's Digest World's Best Reading collection. There are these editions of the classics that I love. I've been collecting them for some time, but I've not talked about them here on my channel for a while now. So I think in the early months of next year, maybe even in January, I'll make a State of the Union type video. I'll talk about which ones I currently have. I'll talk about which ones I'm currently looking for. I would love to have them all someday, but I know that's not going to happen. In 2024, some of them are very rare and therefore very expensive. And so I'm going to need to have some good luck and some healthy bonuses to make that dream a reality. And then finally, in November 2024, it's going to be the 10th Nonfiction November. So surreal. I cannot believe it. I would love to do something really special to celebrate the 10th Nonfiction November. I definitely want to take a look back at prior years and take a moment to appreciate how much the event has grown. And it's going to be extra special because in 2024, the 10th Nonfiction November, it's going to be the last one that I run, at least in its current form. Running Nonfiction November is so rewarding, but it is absolutely exhausting. Even during the years when I've had help in the past, it still completely takes over my life for the better part of 3 months. And that's just not something I can sustain forever, especially as my life off the internet keeps getting busier and busier. I always knew there would come a time when I just can't do it anymore. It's also a time of year when a lot of eyes are on me. And I know that sounds like every influencer's dream, but I am actually a very private person. And so to be so in the spotlight for that period of time, it's a little bit unnerving. It's something I have to gear myself up for every single year, and then it takes me a long time to wind back down again. So what I've decided is that I'm going to do it one final time in 2024 for 10 full years of Nonfiction November. I'm going to give it my all in 2024. And then past that, in 2025 and beyond, we'll have to have an ongoing discussion about what you would like Nonfiction November to look like. If it's something where you just want me to come up with the challenge words every year that then you take and run with, I'm happy to do that. Coming up with the challenges is always the most fun part for me. If people want me to continue doing that, I will. But the whole big announcement video and running all the social media, past 2024, I at the very least need a nice long break from it. But just because I don't plan on hosting Nonfiction November in the same way I have traditionally been past next year, it doesn't mean that Nonfiction November will cease to exist. I am very confident that Nonfiction November is established enough and well-loved enough that it can and will survive without me. And I know for a fact that I'm still going to be a participant even if I'm not hosting it in the way I once was. I'm still going to be reading Nonfiction in November, and I hope you will too. I am so proud of how big Nonfiction November has become and how much it's come to mean to people, how much it's transformed reading lives. It is going to be very hard and very weird when the time comes for me to finally step down, because I have run this event since literally my first year on BookTube. I started BookTube in January 2015 and launched NFN that November. This has been a part of my BookTube story since the very start. It's going to be really, really hard, but I know that this is something I need to do for myself. I am, however, really glad that we will have one final year of NFN the way that it's been run all these years. We will have one last time to do it together in 2024 to celebrate 10 wonderful years before I close the book on that era. So that's what's ahead for 2024. I know it's a lot, and I know there are changes coming, which are never easy. It's not going to be easy or fun for me either at certain points, but I am really excited about what's to come. I have some really exciting things planned, and I hope you end up enjoying it. I work really hard to make content worth watching, and I just can't tell you how grateful I am that you choose to spend some of your valuable time here with me. So thank you for being here in 2023. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you'll stick with me for some more bookish goodness in 2024. Like I was saying earlier, if you have any video suggestions or Shakespeare recommendations or any other feedback about anything else I spoke about throughout this video, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. We can chat down there. Any of my videos that I mentioned throughout this video, I'll link those for you in the description box below in case you want to watch them. And then at the bottom of that exact same description box, you will also see links to everywhere you can find me around the internets, like Goodreads, Instagram, the Story Graph, all the places I'm the most active, in case you want to keep up with what I'm reading and doing right now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.